Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Monday. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I know today was another good weather day, and hopefully we had a chance to enjoy. I know many of you are working extended schedules in the salon since reopening, and so some of you may not be watching this until after hours. So I just wanted to have bring a couple of business things together early on, and then I wanted to have a conversation about our guidelines. The business things are, as mentioned on Friday, there are new information on the PPP loan. They've changed from 75% of it needing to be used toward payroll to 60% that now needs to be used toward payroll. They've also allowed the period for adding up to rehiring your staff and getting a full forgiveness of the loan. They've extended that to December of this year, December 31st. So there's some real positives that have come from that. The bill was just signed on Friday into law. So just be sure that you're talking with your bank. I know I got updates from my bank today and your accountant as well, so that you're sure to take care of that. The other thing is that the new Main Street loan, which is put out by the United States Treasury, they'll work through your local bank. They've made more revisions to that, lowering the minimum amount of the loan, which initially started at $1 million, went down to $500,000, and as of today it's at $250,000. So I think that it's getting more in the range to have value. They haven't started really processing the loans yet, but it is part of the CARES Act, and if you're interested, you'll want to start working with your local bank, first of all, to make sure that they're participating in it, and then second of all, that they know that you're interested in that loan as well. Now, I wanted to just totally switch the view toward, we're back, we're in the salons, and do we really need to do all the things that the guidelines say? And I'm starting to get some feedback back from the field that that's not happening in all cases. That we are, in some cases, inviting the guest to take their mask off. In some cases, we're asking if your mask, the stylist mask, can be taken off during the service, and we're not necessarily using the parking lot as a waiting area. We haven't necessarily removed stations or chairs to maintain social distance, and I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about that because it can increase the rate and kick us back from phase 3 to phase 2. I know that most of us are looking forward to going from phase 3 to phase 4 sometime later this month, which may or may not happen, but we certainly don't want to go backwards to phase 2. That's the big key. And we also, I would hate to have any of your salon guests to call you in, because if they call you in, as compared to, I mean, let's just look at it and say that the IDFPR in Illinois, and I'm sure the state board in Indiana, has their hands full with the businesses that they have to monitor. But in this case, it's not only the IDFPR, and it's not only the state board in Indiana, it's also the Illinois Department of Public Health, and it's also DECO, which is another group, which really is the group responsible for writing the guidelines. While they aren't going to be sending people out to just randomly visit your salon, they do have to respond in person to any guest complaint or customer complaint that would come up about your business. And I think that what I've found, and I hope I'm not the only one that's found this, I found that there are people that are absolutely significantly concerned about their health, their safety, and about the safety practices of the businesses that they are frequenting or starting to go back into. And so as long as we waited as an industry to be able to go back and get back behind the chair, as much as I know that makes everyone's heart sing and you're back to doing what you love, do I think masks make it harder? Yes. Do I think all the extra sanitation that many of you have agreed to do makes it harder? Yes. Do I think that working shifts makes it harder? Yes. Do I think that perhaps not congregating as a team or congregating at the front desk makes it harder? Yes. But it's what was put in place so that you could open. And so I really want you to take a second, take a few minutes and be kind of introspective on that. What could happen to you as a stylist, to your salon, should a guest phone you in and say, hey, I'm not comfortable that this salon that I just visited is following the guideline because they didn't ask me. They didn't take my temperature when I got there. They didn't ask me to wear my mask. In fact, I was wearing a mask and they asked me to take it off, or if I wanted to take it off. And then later in the service, they asked if they could take their mask off. And it just isn't worth the risk. We're talking about a virus that has taken almost 6,000 lives in Illinois alone. Do we really want to take that risk? Do we really want our salon or this particular stylist put right alongside a story in the news about someone who contracted the virus when it could have been avoided? So there's one thing in actually following the guidelines, and many of you, I want to say I'm so grateful that many of you have chosen more strict guidelines than what was requested. You did not only what was required, but what was suggested and then some. That's going to pay off for you. I know that it's cumbersome in business. I know that it's your whole team learning new steps of the service. But I also know that there can't be anything that we put ahead of the safety of our guests and our team. And so how do we go about that? The other thing that I think maybe is true is that we got our buildings ready, but did we get our staff ready? Did we get our team ready? And I don't just mean with the footsteps and what has to be done. Did we add to the what has to be done, the why it has to be done? You know, Terry says all the time that the WHY apostrophe S's make us WISE, they make us wise. That many of, especially of this current generation, they have to have the whys or they won't do it. So how do we communicate that? And then how do we give our salons, our staffs, the proper dialogue? Because let me give you an example. You've got a guest that walks into the business and we say, I've got these questions to go over with you. Oh yeah, what are they? And you go through them. They say, why are you doing that? If your staff looks up and says, it's a new normal and that's just what they ask us to do and we're just doing it, that's not going to instill confidence in your guest. And it's certainly not going to instill confidence in the staff member that said it. And then you get to the masks. I need you to wear our one-time use, our single-use disposable mask. And they say, well, why do I have to do that? I've got a mask. Or why do we have to do that? I didn't have to do it at the grocery store. Well, in our salon, we would rather err on the side of caution and ensure that you are as safe as you can possibly be while you're here in our business. All our guests are required to do the same, and all our staff is required to do exactly the same process that you're going through right now. Many people are very, very glad that we did that. And as the head's going up and down, and you're saying that, it's instilling confidence, it's instilling the real value in what you're doing. But my concern is that if you get someone that walks in and they say, you say to the guest, I need you to wear this single-use mask, and they say, why do I have to do that? And you say, well, I don't know, but we all have to do it, and it's just something that comes. You can tell. You can tell when someone is fully behind something, especially in the salons. When people are behind it and when they're not. Listen to the sound of your business. If you are not hearing, oh my God, I'm so glad you're doing the things that you're doing. I'm so grateful that you're keeping us safe and that you're keeping your team safe. If you're not hearing those things, you're probably not saying it right or doing enough. If you're more interested, remember how we talked in a previous live about what should our conversation be. Terry says all the time, we are our conversation. Many of the successful speakers have talked about the fact that the greatest secret in the world is that we become what we think about. So what's our staff thinking about and what are they saying? And if they're thinking about, I hate this mask, I hate this sanitation, I hate these questions, I hate having to take my own temperature every day. If they're saying those things internally, they're going to become jaded about that. They're going to wind up questioning and really kind of destroying where you're going with your business in this pandemic as we are still in it. And I think that's the other thing that I wanted to say is that I really sensed over the weekend that people are acting as if, hey, this is over. We're done, man. There's no more pandemic. We're free and we can do what we want. I posted on my Facebook yesterday that I had never seen the local Home Depot parking lot full of cars. Never seen it even close to that. And it was absolutely full of cars yesterday. And there was no line outside, so it meant that everybody in those cars was in there either working or shopping. That's not 50% capacity. There's no way. There's no way that they would have a full parking lot equal 50% capacity. I would say that a parking lot's probably closer to 125 or 150% what they would ever need for capacity. So I'm just concerned because we're all in this together, as we've all heard, and we've seen the governors all in Illinois, right? And certainly Indiana, you're a week ahead of us, at least sometime, in some cases 2 or 3 weeks ahead of us. Do we mean it? What are we going to do to preserve the future of our business staying open? How much is that worth to you as an owner, as a leader? And how are we able to communicate that with our team and then inspect to be sure that we get what we expect? Clients will, our guests will be more apt to call when they don't feel safe. We are very much a society right now that is, whether it be, and here's the other thing. Every single person that comes in your business has in their pocket their mobile phone, which we know all too well can be used at any time to video what they're seeing. So not only can they call and say, this salon isn't following the guidelines or the protocol, here's the proof that they're not. This was when I was just in there earlier today. Let's be careful. Let's just be careful, because we are all responsible for our reputation and the reputation of others. For many of us and you that are constantly fighting for our profession and our industry to raise up and be respected and more respected, it's important that we are respectful of what's been asked of us. And so that's really the only message that I have for today, because I don't want to dilute it with anything else. So here's my suggestion. If you are following your guidelines and the guidelines that the state or city has requested of you, celebrate that. Make sure that your people can speak to it with dialogue that's appropriate to what you're doing, so that people feel better about what you're doing to keep them safe. If we're not currently doing what's necessary, what's been asked of us, let's be about it. The physical structure first, and then the dialogue that we train our staff second. And then have those things, decide what you're going to do in advance. Don't wait until you're face to face with a guest, maybe a long-time guest who doesn't want to wear a mask. What are you going to do? A guest who doesn't want their temperature taken. What are you going to do? Do you really mean it? See, because those are the moments of truth in serving a guest. Those are the moments of truth. It's not when we get it right, when they're happy, when we're happy, everything's going wonderful. It's when there's a challenge on a point. What do? Decide that in advance. And then you'll know exactly what's best to do. And I honestly believe I've read in the various stylists, Facebook sites and conversation sites, I've read where people have said, I lost a longtime customer today because I wouldn't take them. I sent them to another salon. Yeah, that's hard. We fight for every single client, every single guest that comes into our business. It's hard to have to take a hard stand. But do you really want to risk the ability to move forward? Do we really ever want to step back and have to? And I don't want this to be fear. I don't want to be fear-based, saying, do this or you're going to get closed down. That's not it, because it's not you. It's us as an industry. How can we, together, follow the guidelines, be respectful in a way that makes our guests and our team feel safe in our business, and then ultimately become even more respected as a profession because we did it and we did it right. I'd much rather salons be the example, not the exception. So I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I promised this would be short, and it is. That's really all we have to say. Please, I guess I'll close with the fact that PSC's space, which is on our home campus here, is reopened. We are fully back-staffed at PSC, so we're shipping orders every day. We're happy to help you. Our consultants are back. You can contact them. We're very, very, we're excited. We're excited about being at this point, not past the pandemic, but at this point in our recovery, to where our teams are back working, not as they did in the past, but our teams are back working, and we're making forward progress every single day. So have a terrific evening. Thank you for your loyalty, for all of those clients that have been so, really for everybody that tunes in, and this, even if one little thing matters to you and makes a difference, it's worth it, and we'll continue to do this. We love all of you. Thank you, and we'll see you on Wednesday.